how stereotypically white, therefore racially insensitive of you. I might make that into a series, I don't know just yet, but to start this off, I definitely am going to focus on how the stereotypical white person definitely shows a great deal of racial insensitivity. Just by giving a couple of instances, for example, from some time ago, one of them was I went to this event one night at a gay bar, and I ran into someone, a Facebook friend of mine, that we've interacted online, but we've never spoke in person before. So this was our first time meeting. Now, put that thought on pause. But just to let you know, what you see of my content now has pretty much been the same way even back then when this happened. Where I've been very vocal, or I've always used Facebook as a means to vent about the various isms that I've experienced in my life, as a lot of people do, no matter what color or age you may be. Facebook definitely has to become a means for that. So, fast forward now, to go back to me meeting this person in person. I'm allowed to judge ethnicity by looks, so I usually ask people. And with this particular person, I cannot say what he was exactly, except for the fact that he was not black. When we saw each other, we basically exchanged pleasantries. No big, real deep conversation or anything of the kind. But just exchanged pleasantries and whatnot, and because we recognized each other as soon as we saw one another. So the next day, I just, being kind, went on Facebook and messaged him, and just to say hello, and it was great meeting you in person. And in response, their response to me was, "Yeah, it was great meeting you too. But you're a lot nicer than I thought you would be." And I'm wondering, I was a little thrown by that, because I'm like, huh? Because my thought is, wait a minute. Everyone uses Facebook and just about every other social media platform, whether it's even Instagram, this platform here, X, Blue Sky, they all use it in some way, shape, or form to vent about things going on with them or things that they've experienced. So, with that being the case, so I'm thinking, including himself as a non-black person, he thinks that he can vent about his issues, things that he's experienced, and him and his white friends and lighter people of color that he has as friends, they can vent all they want about the ills that they've experienced in their life, and when they step out into a social situation, they're totally fine. But me as a black man, when I vent about the ills of society that impact me, when I step out into a social situation, I'm still supposed to be carrying that anger? No. That's a double standard. That's being racially insensitive. And because you want to turn off the fact that you want to act like I'm so impacted, there's no way to take me seriously. Because that's really what all of that is. That's what that kind of racial insensitivity means. And it's a way to ignore the fact that what you've accomplished, what you've obtained in your life, it's a way to ignore the fact that racism and colorism played a part in you obtaining those things. Whether it's your job, it could be even your housing, it could be even your partner. But trying to be dismissive in any kind of way of a person, of a black person's experiences of racism and colorism, is just a way of you to try to undermine that and act like it didn't. It's not. Don't take it seriously because they always got that chip on their shoulders. Never mind the fact that when we met, there was obviously, that's why they said what they said, because there was no chip on my shoulder. Why? Because venting about it and gets it off my chest so that it doesn't weigh on me when I come out into society, which is what has helped me to age so gracefully as I have. Now, of course, that's not the only instance that I was planning to talk about in this video. The other one happened where I entered a go-go dancing contest where I wound up being pretty much, if not the only, close to the only black participant in this contest. And when I went on, and after my experience of the crowd's reaction to me, it definitely showed how racist the crowd was and how much the racism in the gay community really is a plague in our community, and how much the gay community is just a community in name only. And when I went online afterwards and vented about it, a bartender at that bar who saw everything that I wrote about happening because of that crowd said to me, he said, I know what you, I know that you experienced that racism, but maybe you shouldn't say anything because if you say something about it, then it'll make people not want to come to the bar. So, I'm supposed to keep inside the racism that I experience from your patrons, so your bar can make money at the expense of me not being represented in that crowd. Because honestly, that's really why I've thrown myself into a lot over the years. That's why I've thrown myself into a lot of bar contests, just for the sake of them having some kind of black representation, especially in the go-go scene, because in the go-go boy scene, there are very few black go-go boys of all places where I live, New York City. But there's very few black go-go boys here. Going back to this particular individual, he decided to try to tell me to not speak my truth so you can turn a profit. Again, racial insensitivity. The reason for that insensitivity is so you can not have to deal with the fact that a lot of things in your life as a white or light-skinned person, you have obtained because of racism and colorism. If you do succeed in convincing me that what I'm addressing isn't as real as it is, you succeed in convincing yourself of that as well. But that's the thing. Obviously, I'm smarter than you, and I'm not tolerating that bullshit. I'm not going to believe that. I'm going to stick to my guns. I know what I saw. I've lived long enough on this planet to see it and know what I'm seeing. So, with that said, I'm saying again that we just need, if we're going to be actual community in something besides in name only, we need to start being sensitive and empathetic to one another's issues and various isms that we experience because of who we are. Separately within this community, the individual sex within this community, we need to acknowledge it, those differences, and realize that there's a different set of rules of issues that comes along with that, and we have to be supportive of one another in order to be a real community. And so that's why I decided this video was very necessary. And so plain and simply, what I'm saying is, do better.